JFD, just fair and direct.
Okay, hello and good morning everyone. Welcome to JFD Traders Espresso with me, Darius Anucauskas. Today is the 30th of June 2020, so yeah, welcome everyone. Welcome to this Tuesday's morning live session, and also welcome to the last trading day for June. So, and the first month of summer has passed, so yep, welcome to this last day. But as always, before we jump into the charts, let's quickly have a read through our risk disclaimers. So the content we produce does not constitute investment advice or investment recommendation, should not be considered as such, and does not in any way constitute an invitation to acquire any financial instrument or product. As always, a few seconds for you to read the rest and we can continue. Okay, so now then, also just before we jump into the charts, quick mentioning of our JFD YouTube channel, to which you can always subscribe to in order not to miss any of our upcoming videos, and of course our JFD Bank website, and specifically our JFD research page, which we also update on a daily basis. So yep, feel free to visit us here on jfdbank.com and click on the research tab right there on the top. Now then, so a quick update on what's happening here globally. So yep, of course the figure continues to rise, however not as dramatically as it did in the past few days. So yep, daily cases have slowed down a little bit, so hopefully, I mean, this could, well, I keep saying this, but I mean the chart keeps on rising, so so that's why, I mean, I'm not going to probably say anything anymore. Yes, we hope this is gonna start moving lower. However, if we let's say apply technical analysis on this little chart here, then well, hopefully the upside line can get broken very soon. Now then, jumping into a few indices. Now the first one on the touch on here is Nikkei 225. I talked about this one, and I talked about this one yesterday, and yesterday basically the index drifted nicely to the downside, and yep, closed below this 22,125 zone, kind of this way increasing the chances of a possible move further down. However, this morning, as we saw, the index kind of, let's say, first of all opened in a positive territory. Yesterday the US equities rebounded, and yep, Nikkei managed to get a boost as well. In addition to that, the market kind of got a boost with the Chinese figures, which came out. Let me just quickly pick up on that one. So the manufacturing PMI figures for China, from China for June, came out much better than the forecast. So yep, that kind of sparked a bit of hope among investors, and yep, we saw Nikkei kind of pushing back up, and as you can see, it closed nicely in the positive territory. However, from the technical side, the index kind of still remains below this little short-term downside resistance line taken from the high of the 10th of June. So that's why probably we'll take a bit of a neutral stand here for now, and wait for a clear move either back below the 22,125 zone in order to start considering lower areas, slightly lower areas, or we'll wait for a push above the 22,624-25 zone, somewhere around here, in order to get a little bit more excited about the upside. Jumping into the German DAX, and the index here closed in the positive territory yesterday. The index pushed a little bit up north. Currently the cash index is balancing at around 12,270 territory, so basically just slightly above where it has closed yesterday. Let's get rid of this line, this is a little bit in the way. So yep, but as I've mentioned before and yesterday, that still preferably we would like to see at least a push above the 12,484 zone in order to kind of aim for slightly higher levels, and those slightly higher levels are or is the highest point of June here near the 12,913 zone, or the lowest point of January, or should I say the low of the 31st of January near the 12,973.74 level. So again, this is going to be what we're going to be targeting, but we would like to see a push above the 12,484 level first. Until then, we're going to remain a bit on the, let's say, cautiously bullish, maybe even a little bit neutral side, because although yes, we are still trading above this short-term upside support line taken from the low the 19th of March, but still we would prefer to let's say wait for a break of this upside line and a drop below the 11,600 zone before considering lower areas here. So that's why we'll take a bit of a neutral stand here right now. Quick update on FTSE 100 now. I talked about this index yesterday as well in my morning video, and basically not much has changed. The index is still trading between these two lines, the short-term tentative upside support line taken from the low the 22nd of May, and the short-term downside resistance line taken from the high of the 8th of June. Basically we need to see a nice good breakthrough one of these lines before kind of considering the next directional move. Looking at the cash index and where it's currently balancing at, the price is not far from where it has closed yesterday, so we'll keep an eye on that one, and we'll keep an eye on these two lines. Gold here, well, yesterday kind of closed virtually unchanged. You can see that it's still balancing above this short-term upside support line taken from the low of the 5th of June, which some bulls might see as a good positive thing. But at the same time, the precious metal is kind of struggling with this barrier right here, the high of last week near the 1779 zone, and in a way we would prefer to wait for a push above that barrier first before kind of considering higher levels. In terms of the downside, well, we would like to wait for a drop below the 1748 zone, because at the same time the price would break the upside support line and fall below this this upper bound of the range, the previous range where gold was trading in from around mid-April. So that's why we would like to see, we would like to wait for a drop below this area, and maybe also a move below this level would place the price below the 21-day EMA, and if we do even get a daily close below that 21-day EMA, then, well, I mean, larger extensions to the downside could be possible, because as you can see here, for example, back around the mid-June, this 21-day EMA kind of acted as a very nice area of support. So we could consider something like that. But again, I'll repeat myself. This is only in the scenario if we get a break of this upside line and we see a drop below the 1748 zone. For now, we are leaning a little bit more to the upside. However, we need that confirmation break above the 1779 zone. Brent, WTI oil. Now, yesterday I talked about this one. I've mentioned it, and yep, as you can see, and this is what I was saying yesterday, guys, to keep a close eye on this 21-day EMA, because as you can see, it continues to provide support, and for example, as it did here around mid-June, and the commodity kind of rebounded a little bit. However, it still remains below its key resistance levels here in around the 40.40 zone and the 41.61 levels. So and by the last one is the high of the 23rd of June, or in other words, the highest point of June. Now, don't get me wrong, we still have 1 day left in June, so let's see how it's going to end. Will we actually keep this level, the 41.61 level, as the highest point of June or not? We'll see. But for now, that's what we're waiting here for. We need to see a nice good pop above that barrier in order to aim for higher levels, because such a move would also confirm a forthcoming higher high and also place the price above the 200-day EMA here, shown as the black line. So, yep, for now, be very careful. With the downside for us, well, given that it has shifted a little bit to the right and to the upside, we would maybe start looking at some lower levels if we get a drop below this little area, the 39 point, 37.10 zone. That's the low of last week. Such a move would place the price below the 21-day EMA, and maybe more sellers could see this as a good opportunity to step in and drive this one lower. Ripple, quick update here. So on last week on Saturday, the crypto drifted lower, and I talked about this area, this highlighted area last week basically, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on it, because if we get a nice good strong move below this, and we'll start off with the 0.1813 zone. If we get a nice good move below this, then yep, further declines could be possible towards the 0.1743 territory. But if that gets broken, then yep, even lower levels could be met. But as you can see, the crypto kind of drifted lower. It broke the 0.1743 territory, but failed to close above it. And as you can see now, on Sunday we had a bit of a correction. Yesterday it kind of ended the day virtually unchanged, and today it stays kind of hanging around this area as well. So we'll continue monitoring this 0.1743 territory, because if we finally do get a nice daily close, then yep, maybe further declines could be possible. In terms of the upside, now of course previously I talked about this level here, the 0.2152, but we could already start looking at maybe some upside if we get a break of this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 30th of April. But until then, we will be very careful here. Like I said, don't get me wrong, this is always a bit of a gamble with cryptos, so that's why guys, stay safe. AUDJPY. Now, yesterday I talked about this pair, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this little pattern here, this little triangle, and as you can see, the pair kind of violated the upper side of this triangle and pushed higher. However, what I was also mentioning yesterday, that a push above the 74.47 level would be needed in order to get a little bit more comfortable with higher areas. But that move did not happen, so for now we're gonna still probably stay a bit of on a somewhat bullish, I would say. We'll take a somewhat bullish approach, and we'll keep an eye on this level, the 74.47. In terms of the downside, we need to see a break of this upside line taken from the low of the 2nd of April and a drop below the 71.93. Until then, we're not really going to do anything. USDJPY. So this one finally is pushing nicely to the upside. Yesterday I talked about this pair, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this 107.64 level, which if it gets broken could in a way open the door towards higher levels. And as you can see, for now the pair is seems to be comfortably moving higher. However, don't get me wrong, we do have some resistance levels here, strong ones, and yesterday, for example, the pair did push above the 107.64 zone but failed to close above it. This morning it is trying to make that make its way above this area again, and is doing that. However, it's currently getting a hold up near the 100-day EMA. So if we do get a nice strong comfortable move above that 100-day EMA, then yes, the next target for us is around the 200-day EMA, and if these are just seen as temporary obstacles, then yep, a further move higher could be possible. But again, for now, like I said, guys, be very careful. The pair is drifting higher, yes, but it's currently getting a hold up near this 100-day EMA. So a nice good push further above that could do the trick for more buyers. Now, GBP CAD, something that I've looked at last week, and in a way it worked out perfectly. So basically the idea was, initially, that I was talking about yesterday, was that we may see a bit of a correction here to the upside, maybe towards this downside resistance line taken from the high of the 1st of May, or maybe to this 21-day EMA. So one of the areas did provide decent resistance, and you can see that this is the scenario that kind of happened, and the pair has moved lower. So I'm quite, let's say, quite happy with this. And for now, the way we can look at this is, of course, we'll keep an eye on the low of last week, near the sorry, not the low of last week, the low of the 19th of June, and actually the lowest point of June. So don't get me wrong, we still have one day left, which is today, and in a way, if this barrier gets broken, this area gets broken, the 1.6751 zone, which is currently the lowest point of June, if that gets broken, yep, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and further declines could be possible. And this is where we'll start aiming for the 1.6551 territory, marked by the lowest point of March this year. And if I'm not mistaken, I think it's also the lowest point of this year. Yep, that's correct. So basically the 1.6551 territory, roughly around there, is the lowest point of this year. And if we get a break below the lowest, well, let's put it this way, the current lowest point of June near the 1.6751, then yes, this would confirm a forthcoming lower low, and maybe more sellers could be joining in. So that's why be very careful here today, guys. Today's, like I said, the last trading day for June. Let's see if the pair can make a new low for June. Euro GBP, quick update here. I talked about this pair yesterday in my Traders Tea Time, and I was telling you guys to keep a close eye on this barrier right here, the 0.9150, which, as you can see, acted as a fantastic area of resistance, although we did get a small overshoot initially, but the yesterday's daily candle failed to kind of stay above it, so it ended the day below. And today we're seeing this kind of let's say neutral activity. There's no really clear indication of where it wants to go today for now. So how we could look at this is, if this barrier, the 0.9150 territory, continues to provide resistance today, then maybe we could see a bit of a correction here to the downside. And the reason why I'm saying correction, because don't forget that we're still above this upside support line taken from the low of the 18th of February. So in a way, if this pair struggles with the 0.9150 territory, then a bit of a setback could be possible. However, if we do get a nice strong push above this area, then of course keep your eyes on the high of yesterday, and then we could start moving further north. Now, in terms of finding a good resistance level here, now it's a little bit tricky here. Now, one of the good ones is, of course, near the 0.9388 territory. However, don't get me wrong, I mean, somewhere here maybe it also could find some resistance marked by this level is marked by the high of the 26th of March, marked near the 0.9239 area. And again, it could be one of the levels, but we'll reevaluate everything again, and probably that's what we're going to be aiming for initially. But as I said, only if we get a nice good strong move above the 0.9150 territory, and then yep, we will take it from there. And finally, Euro USD. So this one yesterday, and well, this is what I was talking about yesterday, guys. Basically, I was telling you that yes, we were pushing higher, but the main thing was to focus on this downside resistance line, basically taken from the high of the 10th of June. And as you can see, the pair did travel higher, and then it declined back down, and kind of declined back below the 1.1237 territory, which is marked by the high of the 16th of March. And today we're seeing a bit of bearish activity here, where the pair is getting pushed back towards the 21-day EMA. This is where it's currently sitting at. The big question here is if it can break this or not. If it can, then yep, we will aim for this level right here, which I was talking about. And on Monday, in my morning video, I was telling you guys that we could be getting ourselves here a possible descending triangle. Well, I mean, it's a bit too early to talk about that, because we would need to see the pair drifting lower, testing this area near the 1.1168, and then kind of maybe rebounding back up again. So but for now, like I said, we'll be very careful until it's kind of trading, until it's trading between these two lines here, between the 1.1168 and below, above the 1.1168 and below this downside resistance line. We will take a bit of a neutral stand and wait for this one to exit through one of these lines. So that's why for now, guys, keep your eyes on this pattern, potential pattern, I would say, because like I said, it's not really confirmed yet, and let's wait for that clear kind of breakout. Keep an eye on some of the data today. There is a bit of information coming out. So we do have the preliminary inflation figures from the Eurozone. We did get some data from UK already. So the GDP figures came out as a disappointment, a slight disappointment. and yep, that probably is kind of helping the pound to move a little bit lower. And of course we'll have a bit of let's have a look. We have the Canadian GDP figures as well, so something to keep in mind for today, guys. Those are the final GDP month on month for April from Canada. Yep, keep your eyes on that number as well. So I hope you found it useful, guys, and thank you very much for watching and listening. If you wanna join me later on, my traders at my traders tea time, as always, 13:15 GMT. For now, I hope you have a wonderful trading day, guys, and I'll see you later. Thank you very much, and bye bye.